You're listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. I'm Mel Tiller, your host. I'm thrilled to be with you today. And our guest today is someone whom you are really going to enjoy. She's going to tell you how you can have a more enjoyable life. Her name is Belinda Todd. Belinda, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mel. What a pleasure to be here with you today.
I'm thrilled to have you on board today because you have some great information for us. So let me set this up. Now, I'm going to tell you that Belinda is past the age of 50, all right? And after reaching 50, getting past the age of 50, she received two master's degrees, not one, but two, a master's degree in divinity and in English. She became an actor, a teacher in public schools and at the college level. She became a writer. She became a yoga instructor, and she is just starting. Now, one of the ways that she gives a lot of credit to something that she does called yoga. And today she is going to discuss the benefits of yoga, especially to those individuals who are past 50. Belinda, take it away, because I want to know how I can feel better. I want to do what you do. When I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Mel, it is such a pleasure to meet you, and thank you again for having me. I want to tell you that I was in my 20s when I first discovered yoga.
Okay.
I think at that time it was, and this was back in the 70s, it was more of a spiritual quest than it was now, as we see yoga as a fitness or performance kind of activity.
Yes.
People were going to India, and unfortunately, I have not been to India yet. That's on my bucket list. But it was a way of seeking deeper into yourself. Well, I started yoga in Atlanta, and from the very first evening that I went to a session, I loved it. And then I moved a little bit. I lived in Los Angeles for a while, and I took classes there. And eventually I came back to Virginia to live, and I met a woman who became my mentor. She was an older woman, and that excited me because at the time I was past 50. And I'm watching this woman as she moves about. She was so graceful. She was from Argentina, and she had been a dancer, but she just, I saw her doing headstands and shoulder stands. And I'm like, she's incredible.
Headstands after 50.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Now, look, I'm not saying I can do all that, but
I'm impressed.
Because, but and there was also a mindset she had. And I said, I want that. So I ultimately did take the training. And at this point, what I want people to know is yoga is for every body, B-O-D-Y. We look at magazines, and what we see are these very slender white women.
Yes.
And that's what you see on the magazine covers. And that for many people, it's taboo because that's not for me. But I want people to know that it is for you. And when you're in my class, it's like, don't look at anybody else. We look at people admiringly and wish, I wish I could do that. But that's not the point of yoga. Yoga means combining your spirit as well as your body.
So do you see it more as a fitness endeavor or a spiritual endeavor?
Equally as much.
Okay.
Equally as much, because yoga is about the postures, which we call asanas, and it is about breathing, which we call pranayama. Those two things are, I feel, the most important things that we can do for our bodies: posture and breath work. the breathing.
Yes.
We lose our flexibility as we age, especially if we're not doing any kind of exercise. Now, yoga is not the one and all. I mean, if you're walking, playing tennis, golfing, doing aerobic exercises, you're doing a good thing for your body. Yoga is only one of those things to help you create movement and flexibility, which you need as you age. I hear people all the time talking about their knees.
Yes.
And I'm not immune from that either. But there are things we can do. One of the things I like to say is motion is lotion for your joints.
Okay.
We need to keep this movement so that there's, we can move the joints. And people often are stressed. We live in a world where we're rushing all the time.
All the time. Yes.
All the time. I just heard something the other day, Mel, an acronym for RUSH, and I like it. Let me share it with you.
Okay.
RUSH, R, realize. U, the letter U. S, should. H, halt. When you're rushing, realize you should halt. Because it's not good for us to get our blood pressure up. Yoga's been found to help to reduce blood pressure. Now, I'm not a doctor, and these are simply things I've read and experienced in my own health. But we don't breathe deeply. I worked with a woman the other day who said she came to me because her breathing pattern was off. Everything was right here. She never fully inhaled.
Shallow
And
breathing.
we'll
Yes.
do that maybe before I end. I'll show you a couple of breathing things we can do. But we have to breathe deeply. Feel and when we breathe deeply, the belly expands, the lower rib cage, upper rib cage lifts up, and the air fills the lungs. When we exhale, now we're pushing out all the stuff that needs to come out of us. One of the things doctors found out during COVID is that people, the lungs got infected.
Yes.
And people, and somebody discovered, well, maybe if you lay on your back so you can get some of the stuff from in your lungs this way and then breathe out. This is simplistic.
Yes.
But that's the idea. And it's important to every day stop and breathe. Now, when we stop and breathe, when we're intentional about that, we often call that meditation.
Yes. Yes, we do. I meditate quite a bit, and you are speaking my language here.
Okay. And the other thing that I get a lot, Mel, I get people who are, I identify myself as a Christian, as a spiritual person more than that. But people are afraid of yoga. They think it's something, there's something wrong with that stuff. It ain't a God. And what I tell them is, look, when you meditate, then you meditate on the name of Jesus, God, love, peace. It's all the same thing.
I love that. Yes. And so you're living in Petersburg right now, Petersburg, Virginia, and I grew up in Emporia, just a few miles away from Petersburg. So I do understand the mindset in that area. That's not negative or anything. I love my home folks, nothing like those folks who live in Virginia, but I do understand the mindset that you're talking about. So it is the breathing, it is the postures. So, and you all, those of you who practice yoga, I see people getting into a number of different body positions. Talk to me about those postures or those different body positions.
Well, once again, there's something called a term, ahimsa. I believe it's ahimsa. It is a Sanskrit term that means no harm. safety in a sense.
Yes.
When we practice ahimsa, no harm. So we don't want to do anything that's contrary to what our body can do. And that's why I said earlier, you can't look at other people for your yoga practice. Do what your body says do. And when we're actually in a studio, there are many things to help people. We have straps, we have blankets and cushions. You know, everybody can't get down on the floor on their knees. I'll give you a blanket so that you have padding for your knee. Maybe you need to do yoga in a chair. And I also teach chair yoga, which can be just as beneficial. And many people that I teach have to start out in a chair.
I'm laughing because you probably recognize the name of Deepak Chopra. So
Yes.
yes, so I went to a spiritual retreat, one of Deepak Chopra's spiritual retreats, and they had a yoga session. So I decided I had not done yoga before, so I decided that I'd go and try yoga. So I'm 6'2", been working out in the Marine Corps, those kinds of things, or rather athletic build, certainly an athletic build at that time. And so we go there, and the instructor is getting into all of these weird body positions, and the ladies, mostly ladies in the room, and they are limber, and they're getting to all these different positions and so forth. And I'm trying. Okay, I am doing my best, but I understand that I'm not looking too good here. Okay. And so all of a sudden, I notice next to me, the yoga instructor is standing next to me, and she is handing me a chair. Because I'm not doing particularly well. I'm not. She says, I better give this young man a chair before he hurts himself. So that's my yoga story. Okay. I'd have to come to your class and get a little bit better. I do like the idea. I love the spirituality of it. It just didn't work too well for me at that particular time, which means that I probably need to do more of it to get a bit more limber.
One of the things I notice about men, they do have a hard time.
Yes.
And if I have, oftentimes if I'm dealing with a man, I'll start you on your back and work with beginning to stretch your hamstrings and quads.
Yes.
Lower back. And you know, you may never be as flexible as you see pictures of people, but you will feel the benefits. And let me say this: if you go to a yoga class and the teacher is not focused on the students, she's there or he is there just doing their own thing.
Yes.
And that's not a good class for you, especially if you're a beginner. You need somebody who's going to be paying attention to what you do and how your body moves. And that's one, I think, sign of a good instructor, somebody who's going to, you know, see, oh, wow, he's struggling here. What can I do to put him in a better position? What tool do I have? What alternative movement can I give him so he'll get the same benefits?
Well, let me say that this young lady was very attentive. She certainly noticed that I was struggling. So, for those people who are interested in learning more about yoga, how do they get in contact with you?
They can reach me by email. My email is BellWashTodd. That's BELWASHTODD. My name is Belinda. I used to be a Washington through a first marriage, and now I'm a Todd.
That sounds fantastic. Listen, you've been so gracious with your time. We're going to have you come back. There are a number of things I'd like to talk to you about, but what would you like to leave our listening audience with?
I want the audience to know that you, after 50, you are not done.
Thank you very much. I love that. Okay. You
There is
don't
still
have to,
more to do.
still more to do. You don't have to move to the porch and sit in the rocking chair. There's some things that you can
That's
get
right.
done.
That's right. Can I tell you a quick story? Do we have
Sure,
time?
go right ahead.
When you said I taught in public school for a little while. I
Yes.
taught middle grades, and that was not my bag, just by I tried to give it 10 years, but I couldn't. So I retired after 7. As a retirement gift, this particular school system gave out rocking chairs.
Oh my goodness.
I declined. I declined the rocking chair. I'm like, thank you so much. But could you use that money? And we were building a new library here. Could you use that money to donate a brick to the library? Because I'm not going to sit around and rock. There are things to do. I want to fill my time up with as many things on my bucket list as possible.
Don't want in a rocking chair. That's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here on Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be. I'm Mel Tiller, your host. And until next time, remember, keep it 100.